What's up guys, today we're going to be going over GPT-J-6B or 6 billion. Specifically, I'm going to be going over how to run this model on your own PC. We'll be doing this through Hugging Face, but through a roundabout way. As a preface, you will need a fairly high-end PC to do this. The high 40s or low 50s with regards to gigabytes of RAM should be sufficient. The reason for this roundabout solution is due to the fact that the pull request for GPT-J has not yet been merged into Hugging Face. If we scroll down, we can see that the last update from Stella, the person who made the pull request, was 29 days ago. So while I have little doubt that eventually using GPT-J with Hugging Face will be really easy, but at this current moment, we have to do a few more steps. Just to show you what I mean, what I expect in the future is you'll simply say GPT-J here and then be able to load it through saying model from pre-trained and then the name of the model, which is GPT-J. So in the future, it'll be 2 lines of code, but for now, the process is a little more in depth. Before we go over how to get the model running though, let's briefly review why we even care about these larger models. If we scroll down in this repo, we'll find a list of many other GPT models and variety of sizes. We can see that as the models increase in size, the results in these metrics improves. Here we have GPT 1.3 billion, GPT Neo 2.7 billion, and then here we have the largest open source GPT model, GPT-J-6 billion, and we can see the results here. In a similar vein, here we see a chart that I've gone over in previous videos. What this chart shows is the performance of different models in relation to their size and the activity of zero-shot, one-shot, and few-shot learning with regards to fine-tuning. Basically, what this chart is showing is as the model's parameters increase, they require less data to be fine-tuned and still perform well on specialized tasks. So GPT-J-6B will perform better in fine-tuned tasks than the smaller GPT Neo models and the smaller GPT-2 models. So now we know why we should care about these larger models. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to want to do is clone the repo I prepared for this video. As we can see, the code is forked from Paul CJH, so be sure to go check him out. I took the code and modified it a bit in preparation for this video. The link will be in the description, but we can go ahead and go over to the code section and copy the HTTPS link that we need to clone the repo. Let's now go ahead and clone that link we copied. And it's cloning now. We'll now enter the repo. The next thing we're going to want to do is create a conda environment. You can do so by typing out what I have here, with -n being the name, so the name of the environment will be GPT Neo 6B. You are then going to want to enter that environment you created. To do so, you do conda activate and then the name of the environment. Next, since we're using a Jupyter notebook, we're going to need to install Jupyter. You can do so by doing conda install Jupyter. The last thing that we're going to want to do before entering the Jupyter notebook is to install a kernel for the Jupyter notebook to use. To do this, you're going to want to type out what I have on screen, with the important parts being the name. That's what it'll be called, and that's what you'll look for inside the notebook. And then -user, that'll make it so you can install it for your individual user. At this point, we're going to want to start the Jupyter notebook. To do this, we'll just type out Jupyter notebook and then hit enter. And it started. Let's go ahead and enter the Jupyter notebook. Let's of course be sure to select the proper kernel before we get started. So here's the kernel I made. So the first steps in this notebook is to install the proper software. We're going to be installing Pytorch along with the CUDA toolkit in order to use Torch models on the GPU. The next steps are to clone the mesh transformer Git, which is GPT-J Git. And then we want to install the requirements listed in that repo. The next steps are very important. We need to install a specific version of JAX, JAXlib, and the Hugging Face Transformer library. Failure to do so will lead to a variety of issues. In fact, if you get weird output, the issue may be that you had the wrong version of Hugging Face Transformers installed. So we'll go ahead and run this code block. I already have the packages installed, but it'll take a few minutes for you. Once we have the needed packages installed, the next step is to download the weights that are listed on the Git page. The total size of the weights is several gigabytes, so it could take several minutes depending upon your internet speed. After we download the weights, we will extract them with this line here. If you run into issues, it may be because you do not have ZSTD installed, so make sure you install that if you run into issues at this step. I will now run this code block here, and I'll come back when it's done. So that code block is now finished. As we can see, it took 13 minutes and 33 seconds on my internet speed to download the weights, and it was a total of 8.77 gigabytes. It then took around 17 seconds to then extract the downloaded weights. So the next step is to convert the weights into torch weights. The code block below is credited to Fine-Tune Anon, so props to them. What this code block here does is it makes a directory called GPT-J-6B, and then it downloads a config file and places it in that directory. This config file tells Hugging Face how to create the model that will be loading. So I'll run it and let it download. And it's pretty quick, and it made the directory, and now it's there. So the next code block is the code I already mentioned by Fine-Tune Anon. It does the core of the work, converting the weights that we downloaded into a torch-friendly model or torch format. We'll know that it's done when it prints out done, as we can see here, but important for us is that it will save the Pytorch model.bin into that directory that we created earlier. This conversion process can take several minutes. It also uses a considerable amount of RAM, so as long as you have the amount mentioned earlier in the video, you should be good. It's just about to finish. It's saving now. You see we're using 27 gigabytes of RAM. So now it's done. We now have the torch model saved and converted. At this point, we are good to go to load the model and use it as we have with previous models on this channel. To do so, we'll first import the needed packages, as we can see here. This next code block first checks to see if you have a GPU available. If you don't have a GPU that has at least 13 or 14 gigabytes of RAM, you'll likely want to change this and just make it so it's this line right here. In either case, what it's doing is it's looking inside of the folder we created earlier, GPT-J-6B. If you recall, inside that folder is now the config file and the Pytorch model.bin file. Together, we're able to successfully load the model. Important to note for the code that loads it onto the GPU is that we are calling half. What this does is it converts the floating point 32 weights to floating point 16 weights. This is important to do unless you have over 24, 25, 26 gigabytes of VRAM, because otherwise it will not fit onto your GPU. So since I'm using an RTX 3090, I need to do this in order to run it on the GPU. But it should still run just fine. I will now run this code block and load the model onto the GPU. While it's running, let's take a look at the resource usage of the RAM and the VRAM on the GPU. So it's now running, and now let's take a look. So right now we're at 31 gigabytes. Now it's loading onto the GPU, and it's done. As we saw, the RAM usage actually peaked out around 51 gigabytes, and the total VRAM usage is around 13 gigabytes on the RTX 3090. The next step is to load the tokenizer for the model. The tokenizer is the same one used in GPT-2, so go ahead and load that. And then next we're going to put the model in eval mode since we're not training it. So at this point, the model is loaded and the tokenizer is loaded, so now we can give any property we want and then get an output. In this case, we're going to give it, hello, my name is Blake, and we're going to have it generate the next 20 tokens with a top p-value of 0.7, top k of 0, and a temperature of 1.0. These may not be the best parameters, but that's what we're going to go with. So let's go ahead and run it. And now that's done. Now let's go ahead and decode the output and print it. and it says, "Hello, my name is Blake and I am a 28-year-old woman from Canada. I've been writing." So not a bad output from the model. Of course, by changing the input and the parameters, we can get many different outputs from this model. So at this point, I'm going to end the video. I hope this video will prove useful to those who wish to use the GPT-J model before it's officially added to Hugging Face. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I plan on making more videos about these GPT models as well as AI and tech in general. I also plan on making a video on how to fine-tune GPT-J on a custom data set. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and please have a great day.